What is this? What is this? What is this? Apparently, it's a female comedian tries to prove women are funny by doing a set as a man. Amazing. Brought to you by the Bash knows. By the Bash who knows exactly. And the Sphinx had lost his nose because Napoleon apparently just wanted to smash the nose because it's the sign of power and this and this. Who knew that in their own mysticism, in their own mystery, the nose is the connection to the higher selves and this and that and this and that. Well, could it be possibly because the Creator breathed life through the nostril, through the nose? So somehow the nose needs to be bashed, right? From all these apparent wise people. No, they know nothing. Philosophical musers. Exactly. Believe in themselves to be just this little speck of something that somehow never was. So what's this Bash gonna say?
So back in 2006, this woman named Nora Vincent wrote a book called Self-Made Man, in which she spent about 18 months pretending to be a man, infiltrating men's spaces in order to get a better understanding of the male psyche. When her book was
Dressed like that? I mean, so she just looks like a woman trying to look like a man. Amazing.
to be a man, infiltrating men's spaces in order to get a better understanding of the male psyche. When her book was published, ABC did a little mini documentary about it, and this made the rounds in the anti-feminist circles a few years ago. Lots of people doing sort of response
Right. So who knew that's why you worship movies and makeup artists and this and that and design and clothing? Oh, all the things that just shapeshift and make you appear as though you're something else. You embody the shapeshifter. You animate. You give life to the shapeshifter. Who knew? So what's going on? Everybody's like, oh, the demons, they appear, they're the shapeshifters, multidimensional, da da da. No, you have succumbed to the worship of shapeshifting to do as thou wilt. Who knew? And that's what you worship.
videos to this, videos that garnered millions of views. It was touted as a game changer because, of course, some of Nora's conclusions were very sympathetic towards men going against the
What is being shown? Why is this guy, is this who he is? He's saying, I am this statue, I am legacy. Because who knew that just Bash, statues are worship of man. Worship of men and other men. Oh, they were so wise. No, because who knows who this is, right? Who knew, right? You don't even know. It could be the guy receiving it right here, like that, okay? Like that. Oh, yeah. But it's just so natural, guys. That's why we had to make statues of it. No, it's because you worshipped that. You wanted to make it somehow timeless, a legacy. Or is that what you're told? What is going on? Because you can go out there in the world and you can find these people. You can go and find these people. They're not some ancient bash, okay? Because who knew that, wow, after generation, wow, man is still man and woman is still woman. Wow, who knew? You can shape shift all you want and say, "Well, they look like that, and now we look like this, and now what?" No, what is going on? Nothing. And you say, "Oh, clones and clones and clones and aliens and multidimensional beings of higher selves and lower selves and ascension to some galactic family." Yes, where this bash will be waiting for you with rock hands. Exactly. Just nothing. Because what is going on? Nothing. Worship of the dead is what's going on. Because who knew that all these bash people go and they're there? It's probably your neighbor. Okay? So why are you worshiping some guy that apparently came up with the smithers of something and whispers of something and then hung himself? Right? Or was some depraved guy that just died from, who knows, some sickness? Because he liked whoring and this and that or this or succumb to just poison. Just poisoning the body. That's how they died. Oh no, it wasn't poison, it was just drink. Oh, my mistake. Or whatever fixation of the flesh just defiled them. Right? Oh no, who knows? Wait, what is this? Exactly, nobody knows. It's just history somehow. And these people once existed, and some bash made a carving of them, and then this bash, or they were just, somehow just trying to make effigies of man somehow. They didn't really look like that, but that was the best of their ability. Really? Or are you saying nothing? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what you worship. Some bash that is somehow preserved in some sculpture, but you're only told that their name was so and so because of you. You perpetuate. Who knows what this, right? But ultimately, it's an idol. It's an idol of what? A man. So, who knows? Leave it a couple generations, and this could be Santa Claus, right? I mean, it shapeshifts over time for serving whatever purpose, and this and this and that and that, and wow, who knows? Who cares, right? Oh no, it's some people in the past, and now it's now, and I just rely on the experts to tell me what I'm living, where I'm going, and what I am, and what this is all for. But as long as I give it purpose and just relentlessly go and just worship these things, it will be all good because it's just so beautiful. Oh, just so beautiful. And there's a big one, and then a little one, and a big one, and a little one, and a big one, and some bash mini me. Who knew? The worship, right? Who knew that this is what you worship now? The macro and the invisible, the space and the quantum, the big and the small, the big and the small, and you have to synthesize them somehow with your super empath genius brain. Sapien, sapien, sapien. You want to be the sapien cubed, right? I mean, we haven't even gone into this, but wow, what is this bash?
Sort of more mainstream narrative of male privilege, particularly when it came to dating. She said it was very difficult
Male
for
privilege, right? Is that what you're saying? This bash game that you're playing in the background is, or what is this? Some bash little virus just blasting and just blasting, ejaculating everywhere, infecting other cells and blasting, growing bigger. And the nucleus is getting bigger, and all the ribosomes are working extra fast to just pump out that code. Yes! What's going on?
for men being put in the position where they have to be the ones who initiate, cross the room, start the discussion, whereas the women only have to do the rejecting, and that rejecting often leaves the man feeling like
Oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river. The ways of the world. Who knew it turns on you on a dime? So shut up. What's that guy saying?
a nuisance or a creep. She also found that men have issues facing them regarding intimacy and that it's hard for them to speak to people about their emotional issues due to societal views of men needing to be strong. But here we are.
Right, so it's always victimhood to the 33rd degree. Oh, poor men and poor women. They just have such obligations from society somehow. Society is somehow this thing that is not people. Society is just something that you worship, but somehow it's not you. So you're relentlessly blaming society when all along you're the one pushing it. Wow. So what's going on? It's like you're just some troll bash trauma case syndrome. You're some bash multiple selves. What is going on? Exactly. You're just blasting, thinking you're getting bigger, and somehow have to protect yourself from getting smaller. Smashed.
12 years later, and not much has changed. Men are still much less likely than women to seek help with mental health issues, and the male suicide rate is steadily rising, at least here.
Really? Who gives a bash? Poor men, poor women. Oh, smashed. Crushed by the worship of. Yes. Self help. Who knew? Self help or self improvement is a self guided improvement. Wow, what a truckload of words that meant nothing. Economically, intellectually, or emotionally, who knew? Often with a substantial psychological basis. Exactly. Unleashing the psychopath in you. Who knew? Because you're just so psychic and psyched to do anything related to your all the ology of your psyche. Oh, how it all works, right? Bashed. How deception works and how to attempt to manipulate it. Wow. Master deceiver. This is the craft of shape shifting. Who knew? Perhaps of the Medusa, one of the many. Many different who knew exactly? They couldn't wait. Many different self help group programs exist. It's not just one thing, it's many things. Each with, because a self is just so many things. Wow. Split, smashed, exactly. Well, each with its own focus, yes. Technique, oh, who knew? The relentless huffing in and outs. Associated beliefs, wow, who knew? The brainwashing and the proponents, ritual, and in some cases, leaders, oh, who knew? Concepts and terms originated in self help culture and 12-step culture, such as recovery. Oh, they couldn't wait. Dysfunctional families and codependency have become firmly integrated in mainstream language. So, the self help and self improvement, bash, how did wedge come in with these bash terms? Amazing. And has split you open and stretched you out. Who knew? Self help often utilizes publicly available information or support groups. So uses propaganda and centers for retraining, re-education on the internet as well as in person. There are just everywhere. The relentless Jehovah Witness everywhere. Just can't wait to just convert you into a self-helper. Oh, you can help yourself into oblivion. Yes, you can. Where people in similar situations join together and worship the light. From early examples in self driven legal practice and homespun advice, the connotations of the word have spread and often apply particularly to education, business, psychology, and psychotherapy. Who knew? Commonly distributed through the popular genre of self help books, self help wisdom, and all these self wisdom books, boasting. According to, and it's the same bash as like how to become richer and the tips of the most financial successful people in this, how to be the best at this, and exactly same bash. And of course, it has multiple shape-shifting swarm names. Who knew? According to the APA Dictionary of Psychology, potential benefits of self-help groups that professionals may not be able to provide include friendship. So friendship, they say, okay, we created friendship, so it's a self-help tool. What bash? What is even friendship? Oh, just people that come in and out of your life and turn on you on a dime, and you're lucky if you have some bash that sticks with you the whole way somehow. Really? What does that even mean? Some brethren? Is there a kinship of some sort? What are we all doing? What are we all doing? Emotional support. Oh, they couldn't wait to bash you with that term. Experiential knowledge. Oh, I mean, who knew that self help was? You could just say it's the doctrine of the defiler, of that he who is in relentless defiance. Of what? Who knows? But he's just always relentlessly unfulfilled. Who knew? Faking it till he makes it somehow, believing, bashing himself further. Potential benefits, right? Blah blah blah. Include friendship, emotional, experiential knowledge, identity. They couldn't wait. So through self-help, you form an identity, meaningful roles, and a sense of belonging. So basically, self help means do as I will and boast in your relative truth and your relative knowledge, right? Because you think, oh, knowledge is power, so I'm just going to go bash and just fill myself in the knowledge of whatever I say I love, and that's going to be my power. Smashed. Smashed. Wow, of course. Meaningful roles and a sense of belonging. That's what you worship. Or at least relentlessly seeking. Yes, because who knew that this is the false promise, the dragon that you relentlessly are just chasing? All it already just it blazed you up, just singed you. Okay, and you think you were gonna rise like the phoenix from the ashes? No, that was an image that was sold to you, some idea of some heroism, rising above some bash that you think you're rising above from, all while you're sinking in psychotherapy, you're sinking in support groups, you're sinking in education, you're sinking in business, and certainly in psychology. In the bash idolization of what you say, the tools and tricks of the mind of smashed. No, it's the tricks used to deceive. Used to deceive man. Who knew? Who knew? It was so good that it might even fool the elect. Who knew? So what is it? Right? What is it? Groups associated with health conditions may consist of patients and caregivers, as well as featuring longtime members sharing experiences. So, like AA and all these bash and trauma, so just victimhood, relentless victimhood. These health groups can become support groups and clearinghouses for educational material. Clearinghouses, yeah, where you push programs and relentlessly temperature check and baster and see if it's working. Those who help themselves, it's just like pilots programs. They see, well, this program is required now, but we need the best one at it. So all right, all you bashers think you have the next best show. Okay, let's see, bash bash bash, pilot pilot pilot. I mean, it's relentless temperature checking. Who knew? Who knew? And you think it's all about taste and talent, and that all these talented people are apparently the ones that get shows on television. And what bash? You're totally just lost. Your Huckleberry Finn, just nothing. Okay? Nothing. You're the thought that never was. These health groups can become support groups. Of course, those who help themselves by learning and identifying. They should just end it there. Suffer and die. About health problems can be said to exemplify self help. So, learning and identifying health problems is self help. Really? So, self diagnosis. I'm the at home, stay at home doctor. Right? So, selling people what they already are in many ways. Because who knew you could be healthy and not just by eating good foods? That word even blows. Healthy. What is health? You do have no clue. For is it the flesh that must be healthy? What is to be holy? Uh, nothing. Just some things that man couldn't possibly do. Wow, what shame. The arrogance. Wow. Those who help themselves by learning and identify about health problems could be said to be exemplify self help, while self help groups can be seen more as peer to peer support. History. Within classical antiquity, Hesiod's Works and Days opens with moral remonstrances hammered home in every way that Hesiod can think of. The Stoics offered ethical advice, right? Poets in Bash, where is that what they're? Stoicism is a school of Hellenistic philosophy founded by Zeno of Citium in Athens in the early 3rd century BC, while Stoic physics, come on, while Stoic physics are largely drawn from the teachings of philosopher Heraclitus, he's a Clitus, amazing. They are heavily influenced by certain teachings of Socrates, who knew. And of course, another Bash image of some guy that works at the local hardware store. So exactly, what are you saying? Nothing. Just worship of the dead. Yes. Literature represents okay. The genre. Oh, the Stoics offered ethical advice. So who knew that these were the false prophets? Because what is ethical advice? So somebody that lives is outside of, say you never had self-awareness and you just lived. Does that make you holy? What is that exactly? Or in your own self-awareness, what is it to be holy? Is it to obey in the way of the Father? Who knew? In the ordinance of life? Well, no, it couldn't be. So who knew to be self-aware of that would be redundancy, and to even say it, I mean, what are you saying? Or does it have to be in your in your self-awareness so that you may not hide from the truth in your own deception, in your own lies, because you're relentlessly trying to escape what? Your shame. Because you know deep down that you are in defiance. You are the rebel without a cause. Somehow the world owes you everything, and you're just the relentless victim. But of what and who's doing it? Because aren't we doing it to ourselves? We are the ones pushing day in, day out. So it's everyone. And that clearly is because why? Of the worship of what you think life is. And that there's no such thing as truth, the way, and the life. No, couldn't be. There's no such thing as a creator. No. No such thing as a resolve in the creation, the true promise, life everlasting. And the proof is your day in, day out supposed experience in the living. Wow, who knew? That's the proof. But no, you must relentlessly rely on these Stoics. Oh, what is it? Mirror, shape shifting. The genre of Mirror of Princes writings, which has a long history in Greco Roman and Western Renaissance literature. Greco Roman. Things that you don't even know. Who knows? Who knows what they were? What they are? Oh, they were just guys that just were so wise, and apparently just all died. Oh, but we're the descendants somehow. Really, descendants of that? You know, something that we could never build again. I mean, we build boxes. That's all we do. Boxes. We build boxes. That's it. But somehow these guys built this. But were they really worshippers of this bash? Because this seems like nihilism and bash, bash, bash. Just relentlessly lost and trying to find themselves in their abyss, the sufferings of the world. And be just so lost. Be like, why is it this? We must come to know what it is. And that, wow. I mean, wow. Has it been relentless victimhood to the 33rd degree worship since, it's ancient times and this? Really? Or was that a desolation? Or was that just the whispers? A rewrite of some bash? What is it? But they're going to tell you, which has a long history in Greco-Roman and Western Renaissance literature, represents a secular cognate of biblical wisdom literature. So I found this verbiage, the way they phrased this, very interesting because it says it has a long history in Greco-Roman and Western Renaissance literature, comma, represents a secular cognate. So it represents, and this word stuck out to me. Who knew? Early 17th century, really? From Latin, cognatus, co together with natus, born. So was represented itself. So was reborn of biblical wisdom literature. So it was almost like the counterfeit. It was a counterfeit based on biblical wisdom. Because who knew biblical wisdom is the wisdom captured by man of the Father. That revealeth beyond to each person who opens up to receive it and let go of your mockery and let go of your disdain and your resentment of what you associate it to mean. Because who knew it was a big long con for you to even build that resentment? Because what do you have? Okay, are you that in suffrage of everything? For example, you say, "Oh, religion has been used to kill so many people." Blah blah. Right? Okay, fine. But what attachment? And you say, "Oh, it's in our DNA. That's why I feel so much." Really? What's going on? You worship some double helix serpent instead of the only heredity, life. inheritance of life, the true promise. But no, you believe yourself to creating your own inheritance in the flesh and passion. Just get as much as you can so you can leave your children with as much things as you can and much coin and just comfort of some bash. Nothing. Void of any wisdom. But you have a secular cognate. So what is it? Having the same linguistic derivation as another, from the same original word or root. So it has the same root, but it's a split derivation. Could it be that synonym? Associated, related, connected, allied, interconnected, linked, coupled, correlated, right? So it's not biblical wisdom, it's correlated. It's related, connected. It's not biblical wisdom, it's somehow just an associate. Related to or descended, right? Reborn from a common ancestor. So that's why I found that word very interesting. Okay? But again, who knew that they were just repackaging something that you would just guzzle up and call and boast in your self glory. Why? Deceived. Related to or descended from a common ancestor. So what are they saying exactly? You have no clue. Proverbs from many periods, collected and uncollected, embody traditional, moral, and practical advice of diverse cultures. So they just formed a Frankenstein, so to speak, of just relentless proverbs, and then sell it to you as self help. Exactly, they've created the ultimate religion, the self. That's the only bond that you see, and your higher self and all the selves that you can possibly collect. Amazing. The hyphenated compound word self-help often appeared in the 1800s, referring to the doctrine that a party in a dispute has a right to use lawful means on their own initiative to remedy a wrong. Right? So you can see how it started. The lie started by telling you, because we're people that stupid that anything happened, they're like, what do we do? What do we do? What is it now that it's supposedly in law? All of a sudden means that that's the state of man at that point. Either consciously or whatever. No, lawful means just that man has to obey man's law. That's what lawful means. Authority. So it's the authority saying these things. Not that men and not that people didn't recognize certain truth, the certain truth. No. Now they're being told what they can and cannot do. It's in law. For some, George Combs' Constitution in the way of the advocate personally responsibility and the possibility of natural sanctioned self-improvement through education or proper self-control. All these words that they couldn't wait to cook up and bash into you. I have self-control and just smash temptation. But I just make mistakes and pick myself up because sticks and stones and I bash my bones. Largely inaugurated the self-help movement. And now movement. In 1841, so that was 28 and now 41. An essay by Ralph Waldo Emerson entitled Compensation was published, suggesting every man in his lifetime needs to thank his faults. Every man in his lifetime needs to thank his failures, right? And that's what you worship today. Make as many failures and don't be afraid to fail, because that's how you learn, and blah 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 smash. Because what Bash actually ever said, oh yeah, I just can build my house relentlessly wrong, and it's okay. I learn from it. I'm just gonna build some Bash thing that's gonna fall down, and that's okay. No. Could it be that there's a way to do things? I mean, in general, I mean, is there a way to live? Yes. But you say no, there's multiple ways to live, because that's just amazing. That's the beauty of diversity, and this and that and this, and yeah, you're sold in just fleshly things, music and food and bash and some things that you wear. Wow, you call that so diversity? And language, wow, you call that diversity? And wow, things that you bash, relatively worship, you call that diversity. So just because you can worship, this guy, and other people can worship that guy and this guy and all these people, and maybe just ones, and pick the best ones out of each one. No. What are you talking about? Just smashing your own relativity and bashness. You call that diversity? Wow. Oh, well, all these bash, statues are just, they're Charlotte's Web. Okay, you're caught in a web, and you don't even know you're caught. You're just there, chilling, being sucked the life out of you. Because you think, oh, it's just, wasn't it so amazing? And we're just so amazing now. These people were so bashed, they didn't have anything. They created a masterpiece of idol worship. Look, idol worship of men, apparently. The human body, worshipping the human body, or depicting its beauty somehow. Worshippers of beauty and how it shapeshifts. No. For that worship, surely, is a ways of suffering and dying. Who knew? Because what? Now, 19. Wow. So just relentlessly fail and acquire habits of self help. Habits. So habitualize, right? Ritualize yourself. So brainwash yourself into self help. Because you need to help yourself. If not you, who? Just smashed. It's just pushing this belief, this worship of you're alone, you're nothing. There's nothing. There's only there's exactly solipsism. There's only you and you, and that's it. And then you can just surround yourself with as many friends, and hopefully you'll bash some girl, knock her up, and she'll be stupid enough to marry you, and this and that. And even though you're a shell of a man, what a shame. Strength grows out of our weakness. Wow. I mean, I can't say that without laughing. Strength grows out of our weakness. So it's almost like weakness is required in order for you to grow strong. So that goes against any notion of evolution and Darwinism. For surely weakness does not survive, according to that model. Certainly not in the evolution of man coming from Bash ape. So this is purely a Bash notion. Exactly. This is when good became evil and evil became good, in the sense of your optics inverted, twisted. all, to believe somehow, deceiving the nations to worship themselves and see themselves as somehow a savior in life. They needed help, and they were the ones that were going to help themselves, and they couldn't help, and they couldn't wait. They couldn't help themselves. They just went for it and said, "Let's hope for the best." Samuel Smiles, 1812-1904, published the first self-consciously personal development self-help book entitled Self-Help. Who knew? The self-titled album Self-Help. Who knew? In 1859, its opening sentence, "Heaven helps those who help themselves." Really? I'm pretty sure the Bible says the opposite, in the sense of, why why would heaven help those who just help themselves? What does that even mean? That's saying, do as thou wilt. There's multiple ways. Try anything with no consequence, and this and that. But some of them will be failures, but you'll just learn from them relentlessly. So just go out there, because every man in his lifetime deserves to worship his mistakes. Wow, what a shame. What a shame. Provides a variation of God helps them that help themselves. Wow. Again. So they said, oh, this, it didn't really have the impact we wanted it, so now we're going to shape shift and take heaven out and put God in its place. Because it just needed to appear as being godly, but they're saying the actual opposite, because it's just a cognate of biblical wisdom. It's not biblical wisdom, it's a cognate of it. Who knew? Smashed. Just like every other bash golden rule variation of, oh, the golden rule, natural law, and all this bash. Self-help. That you can alone synthesize the bash and become true intelligence. The emotional empath and the reasonable logic bash head. Wow. Nothing. Nothing. So of course they're just breaking it down. Of course the history. Now into the 30s and bash, bash, bash. Its opening sentence, heaven, blah, 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 provides a variation of God, in the maxim that had also appeared previously in Benjamin Franklin's. Oh, they couldn't wait to bash this guy in here. Poor Richard's Almanac, 1733 to 1758. In the 20th century, Carnegie's remarkable success as a self-help author further developed the genre with how to win friends and influence people. Wow. Okay, who knew that this was just witchcraft, sorcery, alchemy, you know, mystery teachings of manipulation and deception, and appearing in this witchcraft. Who knew? 1936. Having failed in several careers, Carnegie became fascinated with success. Wow, fascinated. And it's linked to self-confidence. So he was fascinated with the notion of success, meaning self-betterment somehow, advancement, right? Position, higher position, this and that and this, prestige, this, just boasting. And it's linked to self-confidence. Who knew? Who knew? Self-boasting, self-swelling. And his books have since sold over 50 million copies. Who knew? Earlier, in 1902, James Allen. So, post First World War into Second World War. So, who knew that these concepts were just ravaging around? And somehow, the wars were just about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and money. What a joke. Because what are the ideas pushing all of this? Here it is. This is probably a a fractal of what you think. Oh, it could be anything. This is just one book. One book that sold 50 million copies. And you say, well, what was the population of Earth back then? Who knows? But, wow, 50 million copies. That means at least it was read by 50 million people. So, what happened? Well, who knows? Earlier in 1902, blah, 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 man thinketh. Hmm. So, man did not think it before? Oh. No, it's just the rehash of thoths teachings, right? Oh, the thinker and the stinker. Who knew? A man is literally what he thinks. Oh, again, they couldn't wait to just bash you with this notion. Oh, you're just your thoughts. Are you? And all these bash gotcha philosophy. His character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. No, it's the split of all his thoughts. Noble thoughts, the book maintains, make for noble people. Bash! Whilst lowly thoughts make for miserable people. No, because you're the perfect example of how that's not true. You relentlessly think yourself a noble person, but you're a miserable person. So they're bashed, okay? Describes the use of repeated positive thoughts, affirmations. Who knew? 1937 described the use of repeated. Get those 10,000 hours of positive thoughts in you, and then you'll just be brainwashed. You won't even have to do it. To attract happiness and wealth by tapping into infinite intelligence. Wow, infinite intelligence. Infinite, people, just like space. Wow. Bash. Late 20th century. Who gives a bash? But look at all these terms that just popped up. Postmodernism. Oh yeah, neoliberal and all blah 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 smashed. One's own pursuit of self-invention, right? Just rehash and rehash and remake yourself. You're the relentless cocoon and shapeshifter all in one. Whoa, who knew? And of course, it's sold on the market. You're just defiled, sold, bent over, contorted, and just told to shake it off and go out there and make something of yourself. Statistics. Yep. Just a bunch of bash numbers. Who knew it was a $2.48 billion a year industry? Really? Who gives a bash? By 2006, self-improvement was worth more than 9 billion, including infomercials, mail order catalogs, holistic institutes, books, audio cassettes, motivation speakers, seminars, personal coaching market, weight loss, stress management programs, market data collection project. That the total market size would grow to over 11 billion by 2008. In 2012, Laura Vandermark wrote of a turnover of $12 billion. In 2013, Catherine Schultz examined an 11 billion. So what bash? Who gives a bash? So basically, you're telling you that it's increased, but somehow it's plateaued, right around there. So what's going on? Nothing. Groundhog Day. Oh wow, now you're just brainwashed to think that you're so self-confident and so deserving of something that you have failed at, but somehow it's because of the system. But you worship failure, so just keep failing. It's fine. It's part of the doctrine. Don't you know, dummy? Go get one of these books of self-help and stop begging, right? Oh no, but I just begged the government and authority. I just want better leadership. Don't you just want to better lead yourself somewhere, off the cliff somehow? Because apparently you're leading yourself, you're following some piper that's just telling you to dance, and you're dancing just like he says to, because you believe in and that you can tap dance and you can make all the patterns and make them so beautiful. And that's self help. I practice and practice and ritualize and repeat, repeat, repeat. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself so much. Oh, I'm pretty, I'm pretty, I'm pretty, I'm pretty. Whatever. Bashed. Trolled. Surely. Swipe kicked and then just drop kicked in the face. For no reason. All because you think you have placebo effect. You're the relentless hypochondriac, OCD, bash, bash, bash. Smashed. So, and there's research, and then there's, criticism. Oh, no wonder there's people of the power of subliminal self-help tapes showed that their content had no real effect. But that's not what the participants thought. If they thought they'd listen to self-esteem tape, even though half the labels were wrong, they felt that their self-esteem had gone up. So just self-boasting. And who knew people are making money of it at defiling you? While social isolation does so by a factor of bash, and suggesting an added value to self-help groups such as, so they oh, who knew they have this bash circle within a triangle? Who knew? The fallen angels. 200. Who knew? Some psychologists advocate a positive psychology and explicitly embrace an empirical self help philosophy. The role of positive psychology is to become a bridge between the ivory tower and the main street, between the rigor of academy and the fun of self help improvement. Of course, they want to synthesize again. Somehow there's balance because you have to trust us, the professionals, and sure, trust the self help movement. Because we can't tell you that you can't help yourself. Because then you won't. You couldn't help but just smash and say, no, yes, I can. Look at me. So, of course, they could have, yes, they'll be, oh, well, moderation. Just still listen to us. Yes. But who knew that they just created some bash false dichotomy, some false dualism? Because surely the rigor of psychology and bash and self help is the same bash. Because who knew that you're like, oh, honey, we need help, so you go to a psychologist. So in that sense, you think you're helping yourself. So it's the same bash. And you go to psychology books or to doctors to tell you how you can help yourself. So you think, oh, I'm helping myself, so I'm going to all these bashes that just lead me to the way. Oh, smashed. Just circular thinking, and you worship it just because they look different. But who knew? Look, it's your neighbor. Look, it's your neighbor, and you're thinking, oh, all these philosophers lived and died, and they gave us such wisdom. Did they? Why are there carvings of faces on rock? And why do you worship them? Why? Oh, because you say that's the only real thing we have. That's the word of man and law, and that's why we have everything that we have, right? And you're like, how dare you? You should be grateful for all of what they did. What? You're blind. You don't even know what they did. For as far as you know, this could have been some bash. Who knows? His name was probably not even Plato. It was probably some bash name. Oh, but you're told it was Plato, so that's why you worship it, and you will defend it because you have formed an identity because of your self-awareness and the worship of self, and how you can always boast in your betterment of bettering the self somehow instead of just acknowledging it. Know thyself. Don't worship thyself. Know thyself. Endure. Overcome. Seek refuge in truth. Obey in the ways of the Father that has revealeth. Through wisdom. that you have somehow become blind to because you worship the lie. But the wisdom is always there, and that's why you suffer, because despite you knowing, you still revel in your own way, in your own doing as thou wilt. And who knew that's shame? And you don't need somebody to tell you shame, shame, shame. No, you know it. And even if you don't supposedly, put a word to it, a name to it, you know that you're suffering. You're void. You're relentlessly seeking the unconditional Father, the unconditional love that the Father just giveth. But no, you say you have to just find yourself, help yourself into the oblivion of your own self-love. Wow. What is it? What love do you even think you have to give? What is love? You don't know. You just want it. Exactly, because you've just beat it out of you and believe, and has been beat into you to believe that you're void of the love of the Father. And so you have become bitter and angered and just in complete rejection of any notion of a creator, a God that loves you. Because somehow anger is a gift. Wow, what a shame. So George Carlin, George Carlin has what, made a mockery of self-help? Is that what it says? As a humorous antidote to the overblown self-help book category. In his comedy special Complaints and Grievances, George Carlin observes that there is no such thing as self-help. Anyone looking for help, someone else does not technically get self-help, and no one accomplishes something without help. Did not need help to begin with. So just bashing, right? Yet he just helped himself, made a career for himself, making jokes and pointing fun of some things that might have been obvious to some, but not so. But still, just keeping Groundhog Day going, because none of what he said was changed anything. It just made people worship him because, wow, he has the balls to say these things. No, he was mocking you the whole time. Well, it's just bash because, and we haven't even finished this, but it's just bashed.
Here in North America. But that's not really the point of this video. I'm not here to talk about men's issues today. I'm here to rather talk about a video I saw the other day while I was watching a YouTuber by the name of Nurkish streaming, and Nurkish was watching this video himself as a man, thinking that people are going to be more receptive to her comedy if it's coming from a man. Now, this is not exactly a novel idea. In fact, it's pretty much mainstream progressive.
Progressive. Really? No. It's aggressive progressives.
Canon. In fact, a while ago, I shared some images from a article that was published in the New Yorker, a satirical article.
7 signs that your man's masculinity is non-toxic, right?
About examples of non-toxic masculinity. And one of the examples on the list said, he laughs calmly when called a cuck. He laughs loudly when women are funny. He does not laugh when men are not. And then you see,
right? So boasting that. Amazing.
In the second panel of the comic there, the guy going, I said, as if this, entitled white male is enraged that some guy didn't laugh at his joke. So this is a pretty pervasive idea in
pervasive, right? Like the virus that you're bashing through the worship of death. Oh, okay.
Mainstream culture. I'm not sure where it actually comes from, if I'm being totally honest. If I really wanted to do some armchair psychology,
shut up. You are going to
I would think that if you go through life hating men, you're less likely to find humor coming from men funny. And so when you see other people laughing at jokes from men, that you just assume that it's some kind of...
So, Bash, shut up. And why are men being hated? If that's your armchair, psychology, again, he couldn't wait. Nothing. You're not saying anything. You're just shape-shifting misdirection. Because what's going on? Why did a woman have to think that she had to dress up like a man to prove some point that men have it easier somehow? And if only a funny woman would disguise herself as a man, would get the applause and the worship that she thinks men get, and that she doesn't somehow because she's a woman. Shapeshifting, they just want to be in the bodies of how many other things and people that they can and be, and this and that and this. They want to be everything because they want everything. Who knew? Who knew that doctrine is just destruction, proof that you are void, desolate, falling apart, disintegrated, split, mashed. Okay? Well done, just grueled. Okay?
Male privilege thing rather than just your own bitterness not allowing you to enjoy something that is legitimately funny. I don't know. That's my best shot. Like I don't understand
that
where
was your best shot. Wow, weak. You might as well just smash your head against this solid piece of ivory, it looks like, or whatever it is, marble, and just try to get the wisdom that you worship from these bashes. Just relentlessly smash your head against it. See if you can just diffuse it into you. Osmosis, baby.
this idea that men get laughs without having to be funny comes from, but it certainly is a pervasive idea that exists. So it's understandable how this female comedian thought that she would do better as a man.
Notice filming. Yeah, they're filming. No recording. Oh, amazing. They're recording anyway.
Barney Mac, nice to meet you.
What is it?
I have a Comedy Central.
So they have a camera out. This is no hidden camera. So they have a camera out, and even though it says no filming or this or that, whatever, they're still filming. Have passport ready. Why do they go to where they say have a passport ready? Why are they going into a place that says have a passport ready? What, do just people come in from other countries and apparently just want to do comedy? Whoa.
A half-hour special, and I'm also the voice of Lenny on the Cartoon Network.
So who believes this person is a man? Nobody.
Joy
All right,
Cab.
well, let me write all this down.
Okay. Thanks, bro. Can I get some cake for that?
Wow. That's like whoever did that disguise. I mean, you might as well just have put on that stupid glasses with the mustache that you find in toy stores because it looks that fake.
Picking pushy hairs out of your tongue.
I can't help it. I fucking eat pussy before every show.
And you wow. Right? And you certainly don't talk anywhere, any, not even the most effeminate sounding men that I know sound like this, okay?
I love animals. I would never buy any.
13 minutes
I would never buy
into
any
a 15
products
minute set, right? They just had to skip it all because it was probably just horrible.
that have been tested on animals. Never, because I like to do that myself at home.
And this was the only 2 minutes of some sort of gold, apparently.
Make sure the control group is isolated. You don't know what they're doing in these labs. Very loose guidelines. This lady wants me. I can totally tell. I know I'm weird. I'm a weird dude. I used to always carry a man purse, a merce. You ever carry one of those?
Gosh.
A merce. I loved it. I loved that merce. But I was losing it. I'd lose it everywhere. I was always leaving my merce around. You know, I kept losing my merce. So I just
Who knew that doesn't matter how many times you say merce, it's not funny.
started carrying everything on my person, my pants. I only lost my pants a couple of times.
I mean, I remember when that word, was cooked up. Immerse. It was used to bash people. So in that sense, was it funny? Maybe. Novelty. Some pointing out that people are wearing actual purses. Men are wearing purses, and now it's a MERS. Somehow it's funny now. No. You're told it's funny because now men are wearing purses. Wow.
So that's really working out. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Okay, so I'll just do a little quick personal critique of that set, or I guess just the part we were privy to there in this video, before we get to the real gold, which is her own reaction to the audience's reaction. And honestly, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, I kind of am into stand-up comedy.
Working his own bash, blah, 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 killing all the cells and the galaxies, and wow, 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 wow. What is this bash?
I've done a little bit myself. I consider myself a student, and I love to watch videos of amateurs.
I like to watch videos of amateurs just bomb and blah, blah, blah. Smashed. Because what's going on?
Amateur comedians just bombing on stage. It's one of my guilty pleasures in life. So I've seen much, much worse than that,
such a
obviously. And she was
professional.
actually getting some laughs here and there. And as somebody who thinks about the technical aspects of comedy, I can say that this person has also done some thinking about it and like has some technique. You know what I mean? Like her joke where she said, I only lost my pants a couple of times.
No technique.
Out of 4, something like that. But now let's see how she felt about it.
Party back, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm telling you, it was great. One, none of them understood you. They were all foreigners, so you got some laughs.
They understand you. They're all foreigners. That's what the handler says.
Right? That's your first time on stage as a guy. It's like you were new and you got laughs.
I know, but I felt like I was gonna I just thought like.
She thought she was funnier, and then she didn't get the laughs that she expected.
I'm telling you, it was great. It was good. It was. I'm telling you.
So right away here, you can see the boyfriend or the husband or whatever is in full
So why do they bash you with this again? Exactly. Bashed.
on damage control mode. He knows what's about to go down. And it's very telling. I mean, he even says, you know, oh, it's like you were doing it for your first time because it's your first time as a man, and it was a pretty good response for your first.
So just she was destroyed. She was emotionally triggered. Who knew? Why? She spent 18 months trying to prove something, and then she came to conclusions that this and this, almost like sympathetic towards the apparent like stereotype that men are the optics that men are seen through, apparently. Really? And people will say, "Oh, it's just one woman. Who gives a bash?" Because it's systemic. It's systemic. Who knew that saying things like systemic is just like saying gravity is the answer to all life? And you can't even prove it. It's like, well, we understand what it does. What it is, we don't know. Smashed.
Time, which is sort of how I felt too. Like that would be, if you're an amateur comedian and you got that kind of response, then there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. But this woman, she's already gotten that kind of response before many times, presumably, and she wanted to take it to the next level. She wanted to kill, as they say in the biz. She
wanted to
wanted
prove
to kill
a
the room.
point. She wanted to prove a point. She didn't want to kill. She wanted to prove a point. And who knew that through doing that, she would just be triggered in her confidence, in her self-confidence. Because in trying to prove her a point, she somewhat proved herself wrong. But the guy's like, no, you're funny. You really are. It's great. Don't worry. It was your first try. You'll get it next time. Don't worry. And all this stuff and this. Because learn from your mistakes. Worship your mistakes. She forgot the self-help doctrine. Didn't you know, dummy? You forgot it. Don't worry. Just do all the mantras and the self-convictions and this, and then the 12 stuff to just recovery. Yes. We'll end it there.